Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the West Ham Network. I'm Anton, and I'm here to bring you another episode of Keep, Sell, or Bench, or Keep, Bench, Sell, or however you want to put it. But it is your show where you get a chance to tell me if you want to keep the player, and if you are going to keep them, are you going to bench them? And if you don't want to keep them, do you want to sell them, and why? Quick, short, sharp, straight to the point of the current West Ham squad. But it's not about me, it's about my fellow West Ham networker, Holly. Holly, how are you doing? You okay?
Yeah, really good. Thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you very much. Still in a buzz from life from winning European titles, but we are just focusing too much on the outgoings of the club, and it's just kind of taken over a little bit, which is a bit disappointing.
Yeah. I think it is a shame, isn't it? Because everything seems so positive, and I just
Yeah,
don't want to come down off this cloud. So
yeah,
hopefully we
yeah.
can keep it going. Get some players coming into the club. I think that'll bring a bit more positivity.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be good to get some jobs done quickly. That would be the key element for West Ham. Something we don't do normally. So if we change the transfer policy, let's get it done nice and early. Because
That's
you know what, I
earlier.
was sitting talking to Russ the other day, and we were already talking about like the tour of Australia, and it's literally in like they go in like 3 weeks
Yeah, it's
time, I
not
think
long
it
at
is.
all. It's
Yeah, so I'm like,
beginning.
oh, yeah, it's beginning. So
No rest
yeah,
for
it'd
the
be nice. Yeah,
wicked.
absolutely. Anyway, like I said, this is about your keep bench sell. So we're going to get straight into it, and we're going to kind of go down the route of goalkeeper, defender, midfielders. There's going to be some obvious ones. There's going to be some not so obvious ones, but it's all about what you say, Holly. So first up, Fabianski, keep bench sell.
Keep. I think he might fall to the bench because otherwise we're going to lose Areola though. So in fact, bench. Made a mistake. So I really like him, but I think if we don't start playing Areola, we're going to lose him. And Fabianski's a more of a sort of we know he's going to be on the way out at some point. So I would bench him.
There you go. Next up is Ariola, the man you were talking about.
Keep him because I think he does have a good future at the club. When we've seen what he can do, he does a really good job. I still don't know whether I'd actually choose Fabianski or him to actually start at the moment. Yeah, I know, but I do think play him, keep him. He's got to be our number one goalkeeper now.
Yep, absolutely. Next up, Joseph Anang.
I reckon keep him. I think he's got a bright future ahead of him, and I haven't seen enough of him to know whether he's going to be amazing or not. So I think keep him because I don't think he's done anything wrong for me to think we've got to get rid.
Absolutely. Let's move into our defenders then. So if you are watching, put your comments in, let us know your thoughts on what Holly said so far. First defender up is Ben Johnson.
Oh, Ben Johnson is an iffy one for me. I think if I was going to sell any of the players, it would potentially be him, but I don't know how much we'd get for him, and we'd need a backup for me to want to do that. So I'm going to just go out there and say sell because I think we've got to really ramp up our defence, and I'm not sure he's going to offer us exactly what we need moving forward to get better and stronger.
Cool, excellent. Next up is the player that's on many
Ooh.
fans' lips about potentially being a captain of West Ham, but I've already done a couple of these shows and some people have been mixed. Sell, keep. So it's over to you, Holly.
Oh, it is difficult because I think he's actually done quite well for us, especially towards the end of the season. So I can't bring myself to sell him. And like you said, he's got the good sort of leadership qualities. I
Yeah.
think we are going to need massively if Rice is leaving. So I'm keeping the Cress.
The crazy captain material.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's a good leader. He's been at the club for a very long time. And he's also got a lot of respect as well around the team. So I think if
Yeah.
you were going to have a leader, there's other ones, obviously, like a Ged, but I think Cressy is definitely potential leader.
Cool, excellent. Vladimir Sufal came back from the depths of unknown to, perform really well come the end of the season. What's your thoughts on Vlad?
Keep him. I really like him. And I think the way that he plays alongside Bowen brings a lot into attack, actually. When we've not had him, you notice that we don't break down the wing quite as much, and he can put in a good cross as well. So 100% keeping Vladimir.
Excellent. Next up is Tilo Kira. You know, the guy is he seems to be quite a popular character within the squad, and I've seen some stuff on his social media. He's big into helping charities, and he's a bit wild, and I quite like him for that reason. What's your thoughts, though?
Yeah, you saw those celebrations that he's definitely
Yeah,
got a big personality, which I don't think I
yeah.
actually thought before I saw the videos from the our success recently. So for me, keep him. He made a few mistakes early on, and I wasn't convinced for a while, but I think he's really come into his own. He's done brilliantly, and looks like a really good asset to the team as well as a solid player. So definitely keeping him, and I hope he's got a really bright future at the club as well.
Yep, excellent. Emerson Palmieri, fantastic performance in the final for West
Yeah.
Ham against Fiorentina. But what's your thoughts on him?
Keep him 100%. Again, like you said, we've not seen that much of him throughout the season. He's not had that many opportunities to really prove himself, but he's shown up when it mattered. And again, I think he's going to be another player that hopefully we really see come out of his shell and secure his place in the starting lineup and make proper competition for those spots. In the same way that we saw Paqueta go from doing well to doing really well to absolutely smashing it, I think he could be one of those.
Yep, excellent. Next up is Kurt Zouma then.
Keep him. I think he's obviously a little bit injury prone, but he's been solid, hasn't he, at the back? I feel really confident with him on the ball. So 100% keep Zouma.
Excellent. The other thing about him is the fact that he is one of the most injury prone West Ham players, but he's also the quickest of recovery of injury players as well.
So it's like another injury and he's back.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Next up, another centre half is Andrew Ogbonna, apparently offered a 1-year extension. Keep or sell.
I was really happy to hear that actually, because he's one of the ones that I think he's done really well for us. I know that we're all looking at him like he's at the end of his career, and is that long term what we want for the club? Probably not. But I think he's been really strong. And even if he is as a benched player, which I think probably is the way that it'll be heading, we need to keep him. And I think he's done a really good job for us. And again, solid member of the team. And if we are going to lose Rice, I think it's probably quite important that we keep some of the leaders and some of the ones that know what West Ham is all about in the squad. So I would 100% keep
some of the old guard. Next up, you mentioned him earlier on, Naif Aguerd.
He's good. He's really good. I think he offers a lot to the way that we can play the ball out from defence, which is massive because you don't get many centre-backs that are able to do that. So 100% keeping Aguerd. And I think he's going to do really, really well for us as well. So 100% keep him.
Fantastic player. Absolutely. Pablo Fornals, the one that makes us all bloody cry because he keeps crying.
Exactly, setting us all off. Love Fornals, got to keep him. He didn't get many opportunities, but he took the opportunities when he got them, and you can see what it means to him. He just loves the club. He wants to work hard. He doesn't seem to have any sort of bad attitude in terms of not being played and just taking the chances when he gets it. So yeah, keep him, and hopefully he can actually get some more game time. But it's difficult because I don't know who you'd play him over. However, deserved, great sub. So bench for me, but keeping him in that squad.
Next up is the one that you sell your car to. It's Lucas Paqueta.
Love it. Keeping him. Obviously, it is the biggest no-brainer that he has really come into his own this season. And it's the same excitement that I had when Payet was on the ball with what he could do with the ball. I feel like I've now got that with Paqueta, and just the way that he's cutting back and just doing defenders. It's incredible, and I'm really excited because I think he's going to bring the best out of a lot of players around him and link play up, which we've been missing a lot.
100%. Next up, though, is a player that has been linked to leaving West Ham this summer, whether it's on loan or as a permanent deal. Flynn Downs.
I would like to see him on the bench. I think we need to bring in someone obviously stronger than him to replace Rice, but I'm interested to see what he is capable of if he was given the opportunity to actually get some game time. I've been pretty impressed with the bits of game time that he's had. I think he makes a good tackle. He does seem a bit feisty and maybe a bit hot-headed at times, but he is also relatively young, I think. So I would keep him in the squad and play him on the bench for now.
Excellent. Next up is a player that I was really excited about us when we signed him, but he's had a terrible start to his West Ham career through injuries, and that is Maxwell Cornet.
I think, sadly, I'd say sell him. I had really high hopes as well, but I think he's very injury prone, which concerns me. And when he has played, we haven't necessarily seen these amazing performances that I really was hoping for, because we saw glimpses of it before he got injured. But I think we don't need another player in that position, especially one that's injury prone. And we could probably do with strengthening positions instead and getting the money for him, I think.
Yep, absolutely. Another player talking about entering or exiting the club. Again, it's all rumours. We don't know what is actually true, because every single day you wake up and you don't really know what to believe anymore. But what would you do with the man, Tommy Soucek?
I'm so torn with this because I've got a soft spot for him. He obviously hasn't played how he used to, but he's also been put as a more defensive midfielder. When he was doing well for us, he was more attacking, and that was kind of, he got goals, and therefore we forgave probably the mistakes that he made in midfield. So I think it depends with the Rice situation, who we bring in, potentially sell him. I think potentially sell him if we can bring in someone that's really good. But it hurts my soul to say sell
I
him.
was
I
just
don't
going to say,
know.
you look like you're
You're in pain
hurting
now.
someone you love so much, but you know it just needs to
Like a
happen. It's like,
breakup.
yeah, it's a proper breakup, and it's like, it's not you, it's me.
Exactly. Yeah,
It's like,
it's not Souček, it's me.
yeah.
Hopefully he can do well for us next season if we do still have him, because I still trust him in the air. And I think as well we'd have scored more goals through him if we'd have had better set piece deliveries from corners and free kicks, because he was getting on the end of those before and doing really well with that. And where that dried up, his goals dried up, and then there were mistakes in defence, and then that's obviously a bit unforgivable.
Right, next up could be quite an easy one. Is Connor Coventry.
Keep him. I want to see him. I want to see him given an opportunity.
Love it. I thought it was going to be the other way.
Do you know what? I would say sell him, but I don't know how much money we'd actually get for him. And I'm really interested to see what he could actually do if he was given the opportunity. But at the same time, if Moyes or whoever's in charge has no intention of actually playing him and giving him a chance, I think sell him, let him go or go on loan to like get opportunities and go and further his career rather than just sitting him on the bench. If he's going to be like our fourth choice player, then I would get rid.
Yeah, absolutely. The man that everyone is talking about right now is Declan Rice.
I mean, if you're giving me an opportunity, I want to keep him. I think we're going to have to sell him. I hope that we can sell him for a good amount of money so that we can then reinvest that into actually strengthening the squad. We're not going to get a like-for-like replacement for Rice. It's basically impossible. But I do think that if we get someone strong in to replace him and we can also sort of improve the positions around him, I think we can turn this into a good situation and not the end of the world. As much as I obviously don't want to see him go, I think it's inevitable at some point, and it's probably more important that we keep him on our good side and make money that we can reinvest rather than risking him going on free or something like that in a year or two.
Yeah, absolutely. As we move on to Said Benrahma, another player that's kind of been, touted around as potential player exiting the door of West Ham. But what would you do, Holly?
Yeah, I think he's a really difficult one, because if we can bring in someone that's better, I think I would probably say sell him, because we've got quite a few attacking midfielders. But I do really like Benrahma. I think, if we can bring someone else in, I'd say sell him. But otherwise, I think we keep him. I'm going.
It's like, I know I'm having to put it in. Keep, sell. Everyone's.
I know I'm messing around with your buttons here.
No, it's fine. It's good fun. It is good fun. Like I said, if you are watching, please let us know what your thoughts are and what Holly has said on the squad so far. Next up, we're moving into the man himself. He's on fire, and he is on fire.
Yes. Keep him. He's so good for us, and he didn't have the best start to the season, but he works hard and he is just a bit of a danger. I think he takes players out of the game with his runs, even when he's not on the ball, and probably offers quite a lot more than you notice, not just goals. So for me, Bowen, 100% stay, keep him, give him a pay rise, give him whatever he wants after that goal.
Yeah, cool. Excellent. Right, next up then, this is going to make it for interesting, because we're now getting into the forwards, and if you believe all the rumours, then we're going to be left with no forward come the start of the new season. So we'll go first on the winter signing, and that was Danny Ings.
Danny Ings, I think we're going to have to sell. I just don't think he's the right fit of player for what we're offering, and unless we actually change our style, I don't see that changing. I think, in fact, I'll touch on Scamacca and stuff in a sec, I guess. But I don't think he does enough work off the ball, and we don't deliver the ball into the box enough for him to be able to play how he plays. So I think if we can get some money for him, he'd be one that I'd get rid of and sell this window.
Yeah. This is going to be an interesting one. So if you are watching, like I said, keep your comments coming in. Danny Ings, what would you do? Keep, sell, or bench, you name it. Antonio, very outspoken. As of late, and particularly this season, very outspoken. Sometimes it makes you feel like he potentially wants out. What would you do, Holly?
I would like to keep him, because there aren't many players that do what he can do. And in terms of the system that we play in, we need an Antonio up there to make things happen. Like you said, not a massive fan of the outspokenness. That's probably not been at ideal timings and things like that. But I do think, we'd be silly to sell him if we're able to keep him, because he does bring us goals and he is a handful for defenders.
Absolutely. Next up is Gianluca Scamacca, another striker coming into the club with high hopes, and it's not worked out so far. What would you do?
I'd like to keep him because I think we've seen he's got obviously injury issues. I think he's been quite unlucky with that. And I feel like he's almost a middle ground between an Antonio and an Ings, where he's more clinical than Antonio, but it does throw his weight around a little bit more. And I think if he can sort of, I guess, hunt the ball down a bit more than we saw when he was playing for us, I think he could be a good middle ground. And we could probably find a system that could work with that, and he could bring us goals. Obviously, I don't know what his fitness will be like, having been out for such a lengthy period, but hopefully, I think he could do well for us. So I'd like to keep Scamacca.
Yeah, absolutely. Last but not least, it's our manager, David Moyes. He's walked away with a European trophy. What do you do?
I
Bench him.
I think it's really difficult, because if you'd have asked me a month before the Conference League final, I'd have said that we need to take our chance now to invest in someone that we can have a full preseason with and go and like build afresh. But having seen the turnaround, I don't know how much of it is because of Moyes, how much is because of tactics, and how much is because players weren't quite gelling and getting used to the Premier League. So I think I'm going to say keep Moyes, give him a good preseason with the club, get the new signings in, hopefully nice and early, so we're not getting them just before the league kicks off and we need to work things out. And hopefully we'll have a positive start to next season. If ever like mood in the camp was going to be good and people were going to be optimistic and ready to fight for the league next season, it should be now. So I think we've got I would keep him, but if things start turning south or we don't have a good first 4 or 5 games, I've already got options lined up, ready to go. And,
love it. Love it. Love it. This is who we need to speak to. We need to speak to Holly, because she's going to sort West Ham out for the future. If you agree, what's quite interesting is we've had Tommy already do the keep seller bench. We're going to have a few of the other guys doing the keep seller bench. And already we're seeing big differences in what people are doing. And you're actually seeing different ways of how West Ham generates some more income, which will then lead to us spending more money in the market. But it's really interesting to hear different people's opinion. Holly, Fan, Dabby, Dozy, you'll be back on the channel over the next week or so. So thanks for joining us. And if you are new around here, please hit that cheeky subscribe button. We're on the march towards 20,000 subscribers, something that DJ Russie B said we would never do. We would never do, but we're doing it. Anyway, thanks for watching. And of course, take it easy. Come on, you irons.
Irons.